Okay, skill 2, activity 3, and the objective is the same as skill 1, or activity 2, activity 1, and activity 2. Objective to learn how to count by fractional parts from 0 up to and past one whole. To build one whole with language and immediately recognize when the numerator and denominator are the same non-zero number, you have one whole. Okay? So if you remember, for the very first one, what we did is we worked on working with fraction bars, right? And then the second one we worked on working with fractions that were not labeled, where they had to figure out sort of the numerator and the denominator and then count the parts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lead them sort of into the abstract right now, where we're not going to use any types of models. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to use regular numbers, okay? So you could go ahead and do something like this and say, okay, let's take a look. What do we have here now? Now again, they're used to counting by fractional parts, but remember, this is really getting them ready for adding numbers, right? Adding fractions with like denominators, making one whole. This is all going to come in handy when we're very close to getting to fixed numbers and improper fractions. And this is what we're doing. We're building such a strong foundation. When you get to it, it's just going to make sense. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be something you have to spend a lot of time on because we spent the time now. So again, okay, if I have a third, a third, a third, how much do I have? Well, it'd be 1/3, 2/3, and again, 3/3, right? And we know that when you have 3/3, you have one whole. And then you can go ahead and erase that. And then you can take a couple more and say, all right, now how many do I have now? And again, we're just using our skills, our counting skills. So it's 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3. Again, 5/3. And again, we know 3/3 is a whole. So we know right now we have more than one whole, okay? You could go ahead and erase that. You don't have to use the ones too. You could go ahead and you could say, all right, a sixth, a sixth, a sixth, a sixth, a sixth. How many sixths do I have? 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6. Again, going through and just counting by those fractional parts, okay? And again, this is to get them ready for, there's so many other skills that this is going to help them with. So we want to make sure, yes, they can count by fractional parts, but now we're leading them more into the abstract where we're not using models, we're just using the actual digit, okay? And again, there's other models here. You could go ahead and put this down and say, okay, let's take a look. I like to keep them together because it's just easier, and then you can screen them and then show them what you want, or just hand it to them and have them do that. Or you can tell them, right, 7 1/2 or whatever you want them to do, and they'll go ahead and they'll write it down. But again, what do we have here? We have 1/2, 2/2, 3/2, 4/2, 5/2, 6/2. We have 6 halves. And again, we're not worried about saying this is an improper fraction because all this is a counting number right now. We're going to worry about teaching them about the improper fractions in the next few lessons, but right now we're planting, we're building a foundation, we're planting seeds. We're like, oh yeah, 6/2. That just means it's my counting number. That's what I have. So 1/2 or 2/2 or 6/2 isn't going to really matter to them because it's just a counting number, okay? And so that's all what skill 2 activity 3 is. It's going into just having them work with sort of those fraction, the digit part, and just having them count like that. And we're building a foundation for future concepts, okay? So skill 2 activity 1, 2, and 3, all are very similar, but all slightly change. Again, there's a layer of sophistication, a layer of abstractness. By the time you get to activity 3, you're completely working in the abstract.